What's up everybody and welcome to the cave. I'm GrizzlyKaun and today is the day. Season 4 of Invincible is finally here and we're gonna start right here with episode 1. Let's get into it. When we last saw Invincible, he and Adam Eve had just defeated Conquest, who was presumed dead by Invincible, but was revealed to have survived the battle and is now imprisoned within a 400-ton block of tempered steel. Rex was killed and Eve's powers are starting to go haywire, causing any of her constructs to melt away. So we start the episode with a montage of Invincible, Adam Eve, Oliver, and the former Guardians of the Globe dealing with various villains, giving us a look into the current climate of the world and its going-ons. Mark is looking a bit worse for wear still from his battle with Conquest, sporting some bruises and using arm and leg casts designed by Robot to help him stay in the fight while he's still healing. Mark and Oliver are out there fighting the good fight non-stop, and Oliver is over it. He just wants to play his video game and get some sleep. Mark, however, feels he needs to get out there and help, in order to try to fix his public image and the way people see him after the events of the Invincible War, where the evil multiversal versions of Mark wreaked havoc all over the planet. Cecil offers to reinstate the Guardians of the Globe, but after the way they saw Cecil try to control Mark with the device he planted in his head, he's met with some hesitation. However, they decide to accept the offer,
with a fat salary increase,
being sure to mention to Cecil if he tries to control them, the deal's off. Cecil informs them that Britt will remain the team leader. Robot, or now Rex, thinks he should be the team leader again, using a more strategic and preemptive approach. But Cecil denies Rex's request, stating he walked away from the Guardians. There are consequences to that, and if he earns back Cecil's trust, maybe they can talk. Mark responds to a distress call made through Invincible Inc., but is met by construction workers who claim they didn't make the call. Come to find out, it was actually Dinosaurus who made the call. I've been waiting for the day we would finally see this guy. Dinosaurus is a definite favorite character of mine from the comics, so this was a very exciting moment for me. Also, I couldn't help but laugh when I saw him break through Invincible's casts, only to find that he's healed. Kind of reminded me of another popular movie scene. Dinosaurus is almost like a bit of a Dr. Doom type character, in the way that he commits atrocities for the greater good.
It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
In his case, Dinosaurus commits acts of evil in order to save the environment. Speaking of favorites, who is your favorite Invincible character? Let me know in the comments below. When Mark finally lands a knockout blow, sending Dinosaurus into a building, a naked man is all that's left of the dino. Mark grabs him by the throat and tells him to explain. Dinosaurus takes over this man's body, who then commits all kinds of terrible acts, leaving a trail of bodies in his wake. After his fight with Conquest, however, Mark has come to the conclusion that sometimes it's just better to end the villains where they stand, rather than this game of capture and release where they will just keep committing these atrocities. But just in the nick of time, the Guardians of the Globe arrive, and Invincible decides to spare his life. Mark and Eve then have dinner with Eve's parents. And as we all know, Mr. Wilkins is an absolute dick, being sure to make nasty remarks like how Mark made him lose his job in Chicago due to the fight that he had with his father, Omni-Man. Mr. Wilkins basically tells Mark that he should leave his daughter because he is the reason that Eve almost lost her life in the Conquest fight. Mr. Wilkins reminds me a lot of Vernon Dursley. You just can't help but hate him. Before leaving her parents' house, Eve constructs Mark a cup of coffee, but it tastes horrible. Then, at a second glance in the sink, the entire cup of coffee turns into a multi-spectrum colored goo, further assuring us that there's something going on with Eve's powers. Suddenly we join two city workers looking for a clog in the sewer system, only to discover that the clog is caused by sequids. That's right, they're back and ready to assimilate the planet for good this time. Suddenly, a green woman from the stars comes crashing to Earth in search of energy sources, and she has marked the power plant as her target. Mark apologizes to Oliver for trying to force him to go out and fight crime all the time, and Debbie is going steady with Paul, who's forced to do the walk of shame and face the boys, who are very aware of his relationship with their mother. But they don't mind. Green Lady, whose name is Universa, finds the power plant and forces them to turn up the juice. Meanwhile, Debbie and Oliver go to visit Art, who has made Oliver a new suit. Oliver has decided to keep the Omni-Man O on his suit, who stated that it is not his father's symbol anymore. since he fought all those Invincibles and Conquest and almost died doing so. At the same time of Universa attacking the power plant, the Sequids are attacking the city, taking over anyone in their path. And since the power plant has already contacted Invincible through Invincible Inc., Cecil sends out the Guardians to dispatch the Sequids. Universa tells Mark she has come in search of energy to save her people. However, as Eve tries to help stop Universa, her constructs continue to dissipate into a rainbow goo. But despite her performance issues, Eve lays a heavy hit right into Universa's face, knocking her unconscious and winning the fight. The Guardians continue to struggle against the Sequids until Cecil convinces Invincible to join the fight. Also, Paul asks to move in together with Debbie, and she accepts. Invincible arrives at the Sequid fight and yells that he needs a disruptor to separate the leader from its Sequid. But as Bulletproof rushes to Invincible with the disruptor, Mark manages to get a hold of the leader and decides to take matters into his own fist and turns his head into a red mist, putting him down for good, right in front of the Guardians of the Globe. Our mid-credit sequence shows Donald entering Cecil's office looking distressed. Conquest has broken out of his steel cage and has left the planet, and I have a pretty good idea of where he's going. And that's episode 1. I thought it was a strong start to the season. A lot of the episode is pulled right from the comic, so you gotta love to see that. I know we're in for a few new plot lines this season that were not included in the comics, so fingers crossed that they can continue to serve the source material justice. I will say, the animation's something that bothered me a little bit this episode. I feel like there's a very noticeable dip in quality from season 3 to 4. 3 was very fluid in the movement of characters, especially in fight sequences, and this felt much more robotic when characters were moving. Animation quality is definitely something Invincible has been griped on for in the past, especially after having to wait for such a long time between season 1 and 2 and then that ridiculous release schedule they had for season 2. It is a damn shame, and I really hope it doesn't affect my enjoyment of the season going forward. But animation be damned, we will press on. I'll be breaking down each episode of the season as well as several other shows that are coming up pretty soon, so be sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you've made it this long, why not smash the like button? It really helps us out over here. So, until the next episode, I'm GrizzlyKaun, and remember, the cave is always open.